Hey, this is Doug. I have been avoiding this one. How to change a tire. As a quadriplegic with good hands, psych. So I'm going to explain how I change tires. It may or may not work. You will hear me cuss, cry, scream. If I walk away or pause it and then come back the next day, that's 100% something I'll do. So let me explain what I'm doing. So I already killed the valve stem. So this is the valve stem. With my wheels, I don't know if you can see it, but they're marked with 120 with the arrow. And then who I am, Doug, KC, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to find the valve stem, go on the opposite side, boom. And then we're going to stab it with one of these. So the way I do it is I go grab one. I try to get it under one of the spokes or by one of the spokes. And then I go grab another one and try to get it there. This should be really interesting because I have no leverage to be able to show you. But you kind of bend back. Let me find a better angle. And you're going to see the chair completely fall backwards. So find an angle, get one started, get the other one started. Hopefully I did. I did drag the other side of the tire over. And then I kind of start it that way. I go to the next side, go a little bit farther down. Ideally, I want to be far enough where I only have to do this once, but close enough where I can still work the tire over. See, like right here, the tire is not fully separated over. So sometimes what I'll do on that case, depending on how lazy I am being as expedient as possible on this one. So I'm going to try to work this in here. And of course it didn't, so we tried again. This is all about patience and not falling out of my chair when I'm doing this because it will happen. So over and then over, voila. So that's what I'm looking for, that bout separation. And then I take this tool. See how it's angled? Whoop, there. So that I slide in, I put the hook side out, slide it in, grab it. Hopefully not completely kill my hand doing it. And I basically just work that tube all the way out, or the tire all the way around to the other side. I am a quadriplegic, so I hold it like this, like I'm stabbing someone. Obviously, I like stabbing people, as you found out from yesterday's video. So, tube comes out. Voila! Pull it, get a little bit of tension on it, pull it up. So I pull this part like that, and just pull the tire out. That little trick, just pulling it back and letting the rest of the tire fall in, is kind of a cool thing when I'm putting the tire back in. Yesterday's video, I talked about putting just a little bit of air in the tube, so the tube comes flat. They have these little black things on them. I think they're called useless, or maybe valve cap or something like that. I don't know what they're called. I throw them away. They don't really do anything good. Supposedly they keep air in. I've Never really used it. So, as I said yesterday during my video, I usually put a couple PSI just to give it some shape. I'll plug that, and then I look for my arrow, which is right there. So this is going to be hard for me to show just because how I do it, but put the valve in, just give it kind of push through. That tire's back behind the rim itself. Usually what I end up doing, let me get a little bit better, is I kind of push that valve back over and that tube over. That sits into the tire itself. And then I start working that tube into the tire. So what I'm trying to do is just push that tube into the tire where it's kind of seated into the tire. And then you kind of roll it around, find that magical groove. Might need to let a little bit of pressure out, but it will work for what we're doing. This is a 26-inch tire. 25s, you can use 26, you can use 25s. 25 tires are typically a little easier to load in. Actually, it says 25. So, I don't know. But usually when you put too much pressure in the tire, you get this. I'm going to let out just a smidge. I'm going to bring it down to like 8-10 psi. So I'm just going to let a little bit of air out so the tire can have still some shape, but I just took a little bit of air so it will be easier to form into the tire. So once I get that tube all the way seated, like that piece is not seated yet. Ooh, I really should use this more often. I can see what's going on. Basically, what I'm trying to do is get the tire back seated. That tube is sitting in there, and I want that tube to actually be pushed into the center rim. Just a little bit. I want the tire to kind of sit over that tube. Everything should be flat. So everything should be flat against that rim. And if I feel like a bevel or a bump or anything like that, I go ahead and push that tire again. Do a couple times of that. My valve stem is right there. And then I start. Lost my mic. Give me a second. Voila! I found a mic. Give me one more second. Sorry. Quad problems. Not good hands. All right, we there? We on. All right. So, right here. So, valve stem is right here. I start here. I roll it over. Do you guys see what I'm doing? If you can't, I'm sorry. But I start kind of rolling over the tire onto the rim. So the rim has a little bevel to it. And I'm just making sure that is all the way on. Boom. And then I work on this side. And so I just kind of work it all the way over. Oh, I missed that one. So ideally what I'm wanting to see is I want that to be equal there. So I just kind of keep on working it over. I'm using my contracture a lot to be able to do that. So I'm actually using my shoulders and my upper torso to kind of roll that in. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm actually using my back muscles to push that in. So I've got it about as far as I'm going to be able to get it without deflating the tire completely. Yesterday I was talking about, hey, I completely deflate the tire. Give me some more room. So that's what I'm doing here. When I do that, I go ahead and work that tire again. So I'm working all the way around as much as I can. So what that's doing is it's seating that tube and tire actually inside the channel of the rim. So theoretically, it should snap into place. If it don't snap into place, which it does not feel like this tire is old enough to do, because I just replaced it like a month ago, so it still shouldn't be. I grabbed my trusty little plastic tool, the Pedro tire lever. So I take it this side out, push it in. So I take that, push it, put a little bit of pressure. Grab it down, and then I kind of start working that in. So it takes a while. Again, I'm a quadriplegic, so I fight with this a lot more than I probably should, but it's kind of fun. It's a challenge. I don't have the best strength in my hands either, so it really does make me work a lot harder than it should. If it doesn't start rolling for me, I go ahead and cup it out a little bit further. I like pulling it this way, so I pull it to my right, just because I got a little bit more function on my right side than I have on my left. And so it makes it just a little easier, but not much. And again, I'm pushing it until I hear and feel it snap in. It just snapped in. One thing I will tell you, see how it says Kenda? I always line up Kenda with the valve stem. So when I'm looking for it quickly, I can find the valve stem and go. So once we are rolling, so just got that tire changed. I'm only sweating a little bit for the sweaters in the world. I am a neuromuscular quadriplegic, so it's going to get a little bit loud real quick. What I'm going to do is set this to 90 psi, hit play. It's going to make some noise. It's going to 33, 37, 39. I'm checking to make sure that my tube is not going to come out and done. So right there is 90 psi. What I'm going to quickly do is check and make sure that the tube itself and the tire, mainly the tube's not coming out of the tire. Make sure everything's seated, looks everything equal. I'm going to do it on both sides. Everything looks great. That means I did it fairly decent. I'm impressed that I knocked it out so quick. All right, so we have a tire change. 10 minutes, 14 minutes. So that's kind of what I end up doing. I sat and rushed a little bit, but honestly, I'm not fatigued. I'm not stressing that I'm trying to get to the next game. So it went by a lot quicker. Tire changes are one of those things that's a learned thing. The more you do it, the better off you are. With a disability, it becomes really freaking hard to do a lot of things, especially when your hands are only open like this. I do use my contracture a lot when I'm changing a tire, mainly because I can take advantage of this contracture and pull the side of the tube. There are some people that are flat-handed, can't do that, but this should give you an idea of how to do it correctly. Hopefully, I taught you some skills. I'm all about teaching and learning myself, but hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you could understand me the whole time. I apologize if you can't. I'll do another video if I need to. Thanks.